you can play a great game 3, especially because the map is overgrowth. It's already up and ready, guys. We're going to jump into it right away. Let's see if Rogue can fight his way back in, or if Stats is going to take a 3-0 and jump right into the semis. Down here in the bottom left in the red, it's Stats. Taking 2 pretty convincing wins.
To say the least.
To be nice about it.
To be very nice about it. And up here in the top right, it is Rogue. Has to win this game to stay in it, or he's going home early with Leenock.
I know Twitch chat has faithfully nicknamed him Log.
Log?
Yeah, because of his GSL intro voiceover.
Wow.
But I don't count him out yet. That last game really worried me. Like, we saw Leenock actually come here today coachless, and that's the kind of thing that some players are okay with that. You know, Leenock has been living, you know, over in Taiwan for a while. He's had a lot of experience dealing with those sorts of situations. But, you know, he started to falter a little bit. He lost 0-3. And now we've got Rogue in a similar situation where the snowball is rolling. Stats gets 2 very convincing wins. And, you know, sometimes you really need a coach in the booth for these moments.
And we are going to see a potential cannon rush here. But luckily for Rogue, he did put down that 15 pool.
Again, pool first.
I did not want to see a game end with a cannon rush. That would make me sad.
And that's a smart move. It's annoying to go pool first when your opponent goes Nexus first. But you know what? You have to do this almost on a 2-player map like this when your opponent's up 2-0. You don't want to lose a series like that.
No, it's definitely the worst way to lose. And he's going to get that hatch down. And Stats is going to know exactly what's going on. He's going to probably go for the Nexus next. Doubt he will be trying to commit to any sort of cannon.
Nah. Probe's already in position to plant a Nexus. As soon as he's got that 400, goes down. Well, this is going to be a good game, I feel like, compared to the last 2, which were frankly just very short, quick, and to the point. I'm hoping we get to see that late game Stats that is really, really fun to watch. Really, really compelling late game air armies with great harassment with the Zealots.
That would be a bit of fun.
And I want to see how Rogue handles that. So I hope we get to that point.
Well, anything can happen on Overgrowth. I mean, we could go to a Swarm host sort of game where things kind of slow down and go to the late game. You might be seeing something a little bit more aggressive from Rogue if he wants to go kind of like a timing with Hydras or Roach Sling to deny that third base. It's going to depend on what we see Stats open up with as well, if he's going to go for that Stargate once again. Most likely, I'd have to say, he does love the Stargate more than most.
And he does. And just again, Overlord Scout checking around here. Nothing to see for a while.
Not yet. Not yet.
I mean, if your Stats here, you might be thinking to yourself, I want to do another gateway timing because it worked before. I could just get out of this series right now. It's absolutely possible he does something like this, or even an Immortal push on this map.
Yeah, I mean, he could just simply slow it down as well as like, well, you know what, I haven't actually played a macro game yet, or like a full-blown macro game. How about I do slow things down, I go for that third base, and I show him my power in the mid-game.
Yeah.
And feign some aggression early on, maybe move out, force Rogue to overcommit to defense. And
triple gas, by the way, on 2-base here.
Yeah, yeah. Triple gas on 2-base. This is it's kind of interesting, actually, because we don't see a third hatchery.
We do see a Chrono Boost on Warp Gate research here that's been unscouted. And to paint a bigger picture for you guys, Map 4 is Deadwing and Map 5 is Sejong. So keep those maps that we've got in the future in mind. Stats have been able to hide basically his macro game so far, and you know, on Deadwing, that's the one you really want to have to pull that one out.
This is an interesting build we're seeing from Rogue.
What do you think he's going to do here? Rush Mutas or something?
Well, we got an Evolution Chamber coming soon.
No, I guess not.
I don't think so. But we're going to have to depend if we're going to see a Roach Warren in the next maybe like 10 seconds. If not, and I think it's going to be Hydras. It could be Swarm Hosts. We have seen 2-base Swarm Hosts into like a later third base. Specifically on King Sejong. I think it was Dark that did that. If I can recall correctly in Pro League at some point. Maybe that's going to be the case here. Maybe, well, there goes the Roach Worm. But it is a bit late. It's not timed perfectly with the lair, so he's not going to get the Roach speed as quickly as he'd want it. And, ooh.
Gate gets scouted, one of them. But that's enough to know at least it's multi-gates.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's simply an expansion sort of scout there. It's like, okay, you got 3 gate. It means you're probably going to go for a third base with +1. But he's making immortals as well. Or 1 immortal.
Oh, he's going to see the Robo. He's not going to see the immortal finish.
No. Well, I mean, with
you think
3
it's
gates,
just going to be an immortal attack?
I don't think it's going to be an attack exactly. I think it's going to be... I feel like it should be a third base because he doesn't have enough gateways to warrant an attack.
Could he just be delaying the gates until he killed the Overlord? I mean, it's going to mess up his timing a little bit, but at least it'll be hidden.
Maybe. Very possibly. I mean, I'm surprised it is 3 gates, though. I feel like if he added 2 more, it would make a lot more sense. But he is adding a second immortal now, so maybe he wants to start the aggression.
He does see the Lings don't have speed yet. He's going to go ahead and move across and delay the...
Well, you know what? It's probably because he didn't see a third base. So he's actually playing super defensive.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's something I simply completely went over my head. I'm like, wait a second.
Well, we're thinking about this as if this is a normal game, which it's not.
Yeah, he's 2 bases, so he's like, okay, he's probably going to be aggressive. I probably want to get units out that can deal with just about anything. And obviously the best choice would be Immortal, and especially against Roaches, which we are seeing.
Yeah, he's moving across the map now. He has that Mothership core so he can recall if things get dicey. Although it's going to have to be with his army. Ooh, Slowlings might be able to force cancel on this one. Yep.
Well, +1, nearly +1 Zealot might be able to deal with it. At least create a distraction until that pylon finishes where he can warp in. Maybe.
He's just trying to figure out how many units does Rogue have right now.
Found him. He's like, okay, there's all the Roaches. I know what you're doing. You're still on 2 base.
Burrow movement on the way.
It's essentially a great read from stats, and if he can just hold on to whatever comes his way from Rogue, he will just win the game with 3 base.
And he faked another Immortal Hallucination, making it look like he had a larger army than he really did. Warp Prism's on the way. He's getting the armor. I'm really liking his position, because all he needs to have is detection to deal with the Roaches, and maybe some cannons. He's making 3 cannons. I like his position a lot. All he has to do is survive.
All he has to do is survive. Yeah, Rogue has cut a lot of corners economically to get to this part of the game. He has to do damage with it, or he loses the game. He's making his 3rd base now, but it's going to be a lot more delayed than Stats' 3rd base. And we already see a Great Sim City. We see 2 Immortals and 8 Sentries.
Looks like these might break like water on rocks, man. This is he's walking into the direct counter to what he's done. He's walking into it.
He's gonna have the next kind of step here is he's gonna have burrow movement with the Roaches. Might be able to help if he gets on top of them, but there's a lot of cannons around the map, around the 3rd and natural, which you're gonna detect. You're gonna give a little bit more firepower. And to these observers, gonna know exactly. He doesn't know exactly where Rogue is right now, so he could get surprised at this point.
Yep.
Rogue's going to see it.
He's going to try to wedge in between these bases, but he does pick off a few Stalkers, and there's that burrow movement right underneath those observers, or rather underneath those force fields.
Oh, look at those force fields.
They're excellent. Picks off a few more Roaches, gets that Zergling as well. Roaches burrow out a little bit too early on those force fields, taking some extra damage.
Is he going to try for the natural?
There's 3 cannons here. It's going to be so difficult. Mind you, the Mothership hasn't even used its energy yet.
Yeah, he's going to be looking for that perfect time warp. Oh, could be now.
I think he's going to be a little bit more patient. Nexus Cannon goes down. The longer he holds on 3 bases, the better position he's in.
He's making more Immortals as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like 1 extra Immortal is just going to make such a big difference.
Oh, but if it gets gooped here, that's going to buy some time. He's going for the natural now. He commits. He splits his Roaches a little bit here. The cans are doing so much extra damage. That Immortal is going to pop out in a very unfriendly territory here, but it looks like the Roach is just going to run by. Blink is on the way as well, which is something that could help him out quite a lot.
Yeah, actually could do a lot of damage here. Roaches are on top of 1 Immortal. It's going to go down, but I don't think the rest are.
No. 2nd Immortal does come out here and survives. Very few probes killed, if any at all. And this is starting to lose steam already. He's going to have +2. And he did kill that Forge, so that's important to note. He's actually going to kill a few more of these Stalkers, too, because they don't have Blink just yet.
Yeah, but still, it's not enough. And I mean, yeah, when Blink is done, it just kind of gets impossible for these Roaches to find anything. Because obviously, Blink Stalkers are going to catch them every time. They're going to be able to kind of evade dying. And yeah, not enough economic damage at all, Wolf.
Yeah, this is just getting weaker and weaker with every wave. Even have Zealot harassment queued up here in a Warp Prism.
He hasn't droned his third base at all.
There's no drones there to kill.
Yeah. It's actually completely empty at this point. And yeah.
Right now he's looking for something, but it's virtually impossible to find damage here. He gets a gate. He might get a pylon, but it's costing him roaches that he can't afford to replace.
We could even see Stats kind of SimCity off one of the sides to make it just a little bit easier to keep his whole army together.
He can almost afford a second Robo to make 2 Immortals at a time because this doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon.
Rogue's going to try.
That might have been his chance to pick off Immortals at the front.
No, I don't think so. Not even that's going to help out at this point. There's simply too much DPS here. Not enough roaches. And we actually might see GG.
I think so. I think that's going to be it. Not even close to enough here. A very one-sided series. Did not expect that, Moonglade.
Yeah, kind of disappointing to say the least. GG. 3-0 to Stats, man.
Crowd goes nuts.
Zergs are dropping like flies.
Very, very one-sided series. Stats making it look easy. Gives a fist bump there. And he's made it past the round of 8 this time.
He has into the semis finally after 8 years on KT.
8 years.
Man,
what is that?
That's a long time.
Well, gotta say Rogue having a rough day. Seemed a little bit caught